Stewart Pearce of Parker Building Supplies, Finance and Commercial Director.
Correct.
And Deputy Chair of the BMF.
Correct.
Thank you for joining us in our box studio here at the BMF Conference 2014. We have a few questions for you.
I'd like to think I was going to think outside of the box, not inside.
Thinking outside the box, yes. This is a very serious session of thinking in the box this time,
okay.
with very definite constraints,
okay. All
which
right.
I'm going to impose.
Okay.
And the first question I'd like to address is, well, just if you could tell us a little bit more about Parker Building Supplies and the recent history.
Yeah, we are very much a regional player now, South East regional, principally Sussex and Kent, 30 years old, so still relatively new. New kids on the blocks, I suppose you could say.
The same age as ACCA, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So, 30 years old. A very large expansion about 18 months ago, following the Saint-Gobain buyout of Wolseley. Through the OFT, there was a number of sell-off branches, of which we purchased 4, and concurrently we were actually developing another site as well. So, in a 3-month period, we added 5 heavy-side branches to our operation. So, 9 to 14 in 3 months, under TUPE arrangements with the staff coming across from Dewsons and Wolseley as well. So it was a fair challenge.
And we see that coming on the back of some very difficult years.
Yeah. Sometimes opportunity comes along. Maybe that sort of opportunity through a merger may never happen again. And as I say, operating in the southeast, it's a difficult area in terms of merchanting, in terms of land sites. So to find open storage land, which is company that open storage land tends to be developed for housing and so on. So to find open storage land, it's expensive anyway. Obviously, a warehouse and so on. So it's very difficult and expensive to develop a single site. But we'd found a site which we were developing. Then this opportunity came along. It was quite a long process. It's about a 9-month process in order from the start. The negotiations to the final fruition. But yeah, so we physically added 5 branches to our operation during the winter over a 3-month period.
So in adding those branches, you had challenges?
Yeah, massive challenges, because with all due respect to to both to Wolseley and to Saint-Gobain, the branches that were sold off were branches that were probably left alone in terms of their network, on the basis they could most likely be sold off through the OFT, deciding which branches would eventually be part of that package. So it was all a bit of an unknown, and obviously staff at those branches were perhaps kept in the dark to an extent, on the basis that they didn't know, because nobody knew exactly what was going to happen. So it was quite a difficult period for everybody. But then obviously they are national branches, and we're incorporating them into, if you like, a different thinking. I don't always want to use national and independent, but there is a difference there. So it was a difficult process, yeah. So
what would be one of the key differences there?
Well, it'd be terms and conditions would certainly be one. So sure. It could be work hours, it could be work reward, i.e. pay. Perhaps it could work either way in terms of falling outside our own scales. Benefits in terms of pensions and so on. They were both companies had excellent pension schemes. Obviously, clearly a lot better than probably a relatively new independent could provide.
Sure.
So you've already got a disparity between your own staff and the staff that you take on. So the challenge there was that we had roughly about 160 to 170 of our own staff, and almost overnight you were adding another 70 staff to your operation.
We've been talking at the conference about, and it's quite commonplace to talk about recovery. And to see improvements in business and demand, and even shortage in resource and materials, which brings its own set of challenges.
Yes. The fortunate thing is, in terms of the industry we're in, our business is based in the southeast. So if you're London, clearly is a microeconomy, but there is a huge ripple effect out in and around London, and certainly into most parts, not all of the southeast, but in this situation, I'm quite happy to have a business, or we are quite happy to have a business in the southeast.
And you relaxed the good times are here to stay a little while.
the one thing that was always going to happen in the year before, the complete year before an election, construction is the easiest industry to turn off and on. It can be done at a flick of a switch, basically, and certainly with the big national projects and so on. So it was the actual change was always going to happen 12 months before an election, because it's taking the political allegiances outside. The fact is, it is the biggest vote winner because you can turn on the economy, and suddenly house prices can go up, and generally it's people's wealth is majority of people's wealth is in and around their house, and particularly their house value, and that's certainly the case in and around London, home counties, and the South East. So it was that switch on was always going to happen. With the election next year, the projects will continue because they're not just a 12-month project generally, so there will be some carry on from that. So I would suspect there will be no step back next year, but we don't know what will happen after that.
In terms of supporting that and customer requirements, providing staff of the right calibre is a prerequisite.
Yes, staff are a major issue. Going into recession, we had a plan to attack recession, and that was based principally around the self-build, the DIY type market, rather than the out-and-out developer market. So again, within London and the South East, people continue to put money into improvements into their own property. That didn't really switch off, and we actually made a major play through our marketing at that market. We also realigned some of our staff, so perhaps some of the administration staff we pushed out to branches to do administration within branches to free up all the staff within the branches to become salespeople. So it was a very proactive approach rather than a cost-cutting approach. And we also increased things like training budgets, marketing budgets as well. It's very much, if don't turn the lights off to save money, it's turn the lights on, to make sure everybody knows we're here.
So training a big and important aspect.
Absolutely, and that continues to be the case. We've made a massive play in terms of getting youngsters into the industry. Now they come these days, so that could be through BMF schemes and training, through MBQs and so on. And apprentice training, but it could be we've taken on like 2 or 3 university grads as well. They all come, the youngsters these days, with different skills, and basically their skills are skills that we don't have, and actually we will never have. We are a generation away, probably almost 2 generations away from the skills they have. Now, the skills we have are very transferable. So what we have to ensure is, and particularly with non-retirement, the retirement age being removed, that we're able to, and the expansion through acquisition has given us the opportunity to perhaps promote people, enlarge, if you like, the senior management team, which is created where we've done internal promotions. So we're then able to move people up within branches, assistant managers to branches, to branch managers. We've promoted a couple, 2 or 3 into sales representatives as well. But actually, also things like where we didn't have specific managers. So marketing, for example, now has a manager. The website has a manager. That's with web sales as well, and it now has an assistant in there as well. So that's an area we are developing fairly quickly, and have done during this 5-year period as well.
So it really is about setting stall for the future.
It's very much about the future. It's about opportunity, and being able to take that opportunity, being in a position to move and take that opportunity. Now, opportunities will come. Some will be right, some will be wrong. You'll look at plenty, and they won't all be right. But you need to be in a position to take advantage of it.
Excellent, Stuart Pearce. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay.